So for history today, I want to start by refreshing your memory about Rome. I'm going to show you a picture of the map of the Roman Empire. And it is huge. This is the Mediterranean Sea. You can see this is the Italy's boot right here. See, that's a long boot, and then the little heel, and then the foot with the toe part. And then this is, maybe it's kicking a ball or something, okay? So this is all water where the blue is. But anywhere purple is where the Roman Empire was. So we see Spain, Gaul would have been France, and then starts edging into this, it would be Germany up here, part of Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, even into where Britain is today is the Roman Empire. Even into Africa, the top tip of Africa here, over here where Alexandria would have been, up here I believe, Cairo, here's the Red Sea, and right along here is where Israel would have lived. And this is where the Romans occupied this area when Jesus was alive. So that is why we talk about the Romans being there when Jesus was there, and that is why the Romans were the ones to crucify him. So this just to give you an idea of how big it is. Now remember, Alexander's empire was really big too, but it went further east, right? So we're not showing that in the map. But here is Greece, which Rome now occupies. Macedonia was up here where Alexander is from. And then right over here, remember that's Troy. That would be Turkey, modern day Turkey, and Troy. So very, very big area that Rome conquered. So now to review, I'm just going to kind of go through the book that we read, because I want you to be thinking about some sort of project that you want to do for Rome. And the Rome project can be whatever you want it to be that's going to show us something you learned about Rome. So if you want to do a salt map of the area that of Rome's land, that would be amazing. I don't know how we're going to be able to show it like with touch and feel if we're not going to get back in the classroom, which I really hope we do. But if we don't, I still want us to be able to show each other through video of what we've done, because you'll learn so much, and it's really a lot of fun to do some kind of special project. Okay, so I'm going to keep going through the book here. So be thinking what you're going to do for your project as we learn more about Rome. And you do not have to decide today or tomorrow or in the next couple weeks, but start thinking about it. Okay, so remember we learned about these mosaics, where they take these little tiles and put different colors together and end up making a beautiful picture. And it's amazing what the artists did. And they wore, do you remember what they wore? Tunics. Okay, and in Greeks, they wore, what was it called? I know my class is going to know this, so I just can't remember it off the top of my head. Maybe it'll come to me. So we'll compare them to the Greeks a lot as we study them. So then here, this would have been an old marketplace, and their marketplace was called the Forum. And in Greece, what do they call their marketplace? I know many of you will know this. Do you remember what you call it? I'll give you just a second before I say it. Picture of Greece's. Did you say agora? Agora is right. That's what they called their marketplace. That would be in the center of the town with all the goods to be sold and where they would meet and talk. We're going to learn more about this city called Pompeii that was destroyed by a volcano. And I have a whole book to read to you that we will get to in the next few weeks. We talked about how the weather was hot and dry in Rome, and they would, in some parts where they would grow olives, and they'd also grow wine, or grow grapes for their wine. Here's another mosaic of all the other animals that they would eat. If you look real close, this is a mosaic, a beautiful mosaic. Okay. Children would grow up, and the boys would go to school, but most often the girls would stay home to learn how to take care of their homes. And then the reading and writing, there were people who learned how to write, but not all of them. So sons of wealthy Romans would learn how to write. And do you remember what language they spoke? I'll give you a hint. You were learning it in school too. Yes, Latin. They spoke Latin. Okay. And just some other ideas for your project. They created wax tablets for their writing. We saw a video though about that, or we saw a picture of that, didn't we? Of a wax tablet. That's something you could create for your Rome project. They had art, and their art would have been mosaics. They might have had paintings of themselves. Wealthy families might have had pictures of themselves in the house. A lot of times they would have statues of gods or goddesses. And some of the most things that Rome is famous for is these aqueducts. And I'm going to send you a video about the aqueducts. How they were amazing and changed the world, and how Rome had free flowing water, and that was something that no one had ever had before. And then they also came up with a road system, how they built roads, and I'll send you a video about that too. So you can be thinking about that as you're thinking about your Rome project. And then of course the very famous Colosseum. On the front, I believe, is a picture of the outside of the Colosseum which still stands. The part that's still that is still standing. They would have many gory fights here, where people would come to watch people fight animals or have chariot races. And this was amazing. Down here was down below. This was like the level, the ground level, but then they could open it up and they could flood it and have sea battles. So they could put boats out there and float them and have battles on a sea for the show. So they also, just so you know, they also had more peaceful forms of entertainment too. There was also plays that they would put on. Okay, so one thing we know about is the Roman army. I'm not sure how far we got before we had to quit, but the Roman army was very well known. They were the source of peace, and I'll put that in quotes, to keep everybody the same all over Europe and all the parts they lived. So they kept people from rioting and kept everything in control. Okay. And we are going to learn more about this, but Roman religion, of course, you know, they have their gods too. They had gods just like the Greeks, and they had similar gods, the same God, but they had different names for them. And I'm going to have a song for you I will play next time that we get together like this, with a song for you to learn to compare the Greek gods to the Roman gods, just that they have different names. Okay, so I'm going to end this here, and I'm going to start reading to you today about the beginnings of Rome. And it is a myth or a legend. Okay, so it may not be true, and I'll let you decide how much you want to believe of that. Okay.